Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Plateau imposes 24-hour curfew in Mongu local government area as Makban recovers 15 bodies after invasion on community. Succor for victims of last week's flooding in Katsina as government is set to donate relief items. President Tinubu emerges ECOWAS chairman in Guinea-Bissau. And on the foreign scene, Gabon's Ali Bongo seeks third term as president in upcoming elections. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour on Trust TV. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for joining. Following the recent unrest in Mongu local government area, Plateau State, Governor Kelly Mofwang has imposed a 24-hour curfew in the area to restore law and order and to forestall further loss of lives and destruction of properties. The governor, after consultation with the State Security Council, ordered that movements within the local government have been banned until further notice, except for security personnel and persons on essential duties. Security agencies have been directed to ensure total enforcement and compliance with the curfew. Meanwhile, the governor has assured the people that government is working round the clock to restore peace and security in the state. The Meta Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Makban, on Sunday said that 15 persons were killed following an alleged invasion of their communities in Mongu local government area, Plateau State, by Operation Rainbow, a state security outfit. The group also said 78 houses belonging to their members were burnt, while over 2,000 cattle were still missing after the invasion. Adu Musa completes the report.
The group had on Friday accused security personnel of invading and burning down their communities, an allegation that was denied by the Operation Rainbow, the state security outfit. The chairman of the group, Nuru Abdullahi, told journalists in Jos that 15 members of their group were lost during the alleged invasion, and properties worth millions of naira were equally lost.
On the invasion of our communities by Operation Rainbow, in Mongu local government, we recovered 15 dead bodies killed on the 7th of July 2023, and 78 houses were burnt down and demolished. Cows numbering 2,000, about 2,000 were still missing. All these attacks were on Friday, the 7th of July 2023.
Abdullahi also alleged plan to attack their communities by suspected militia group.
The intelligence report we have is that some militias, 10 recruited militias, have been brought in very large number to Mongu local government to continue the killings and destructions of Fulani properties in the name of crisis. Therefore, at this point, we are calling on federal government as a matter of urgency. We will still continue calling them and telling them the effect of what is happening in Mongu local government, that they should take immediate action before things will go out of hand. We are soliciting for the federal government to take necessary actions to take Plateau State issues very serious, so that things will not go out of hand, because we will not continue watching people killing us, destroying our properties.
Both the spokesperson of the State Police Command, Deputy Superintendent of Police, Alabo Alfred, and that of the 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, Rukuba Barak, Lieutenant Colonel Ishaku Sebastian Takwa, are yet to respond to the calls and messages on the incident. There has been crisis in the villages of Mongu local government area, where more than 200 people were confirmed killed, including women and children, in the last few months. Violent clashes between herdsmen and farming communities have recently been recurring in Mongu local government area, with many people killed. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Earlier, we spoke to Daily Trust reporter in Jos, Ado Musa. He now gives an update on the situation after the imposition of the curfew.
Well, according to some sources from the affected communities, the situation has been brought under control following the imposition of the 24-hour curfew in Mongu General area. Resident of Sabon Gari community, which was attacked last night, where 9 people were killed, is also under control because the residents say there is presence of security personnel moving around. The spokesperson of Operation Safe Haven, O.A. James, also confirmed to journalists in Jos that personnel of the operation have been deployed to ensure peace in the area. He added that the newly deployed GOC, who doubles as the commander of Operation Safe Haven, AE Abubakar, together with Commissioner of Police Bartholomew Onyeka, have also moved to Mongu to ensure that everywhere is calm. But even with this development, that is the deployment of security personnel in the affected communities, some of the residents of these communities are still expressing fear of being attacked anytime because there is still tension around their communities.
Gunmen have killed a farmer in the Toto local government area of Nasarawa State. Reports say the farmer, Solomon Yusuf, was attending a wedding ceremony in Rock Farming community when the suspected gunmen invaded the area and attacked him. In a statement signed by the Secretary of Bagi Cultural Renaissance Foundation in the state, Musa Emmanuel Tenaswa, said activities of the gunmen has worsened security situation in Toto local government area. Emmanuel Tenaswa also commended the intervention of Osuyelwa, Musa Abu Shako, for bringing the situation under control and stopping the youth from taking laws into their hands. He, however, called on the executive chairman of Toto Local Council, Aliyu Abdullahi Tashas, and Governor Abdullahi Soli to work with the security operatives towards ensuring that drastic steps are put in place to avert any further breakdown of law and order in the area. When contacted, the police public relations officer in the state, DSP Ramhan Nensel, said the command is yet to receive an official information on the matter. And meanwhile, a cross-section of Benue residents have condemned the killing of over 20 persons in Senkera axis of the state on Saturday by a militia group. The residents also begged groups and individuals nursing grounds against one another to give peace a chance. Jemi Azandi reports from Makurdi.
Saturday's attack on Batirim in Ukum local government area of the state is one of the attacks that has left many people homeless. A cross-section of Benue residents are worried that the attacks are creating tension and uncertainties among locals.
The one that happened in Ukum yesterday was a sudden one where about 24 or 25 people were killed. Innocent souls are going. And I think our people should be conscientized on this so that there will be peace in Tiv nation, so that there will be peace in Tiv land. Recently, we have the one in Ikbayongo, which involved Basombo and Bayview. A lot of people are going, properties worth millions of naira destroyed.
The raiders have been attacking our members, they have been killing a lot of people, and in the same vein, we the indigenous, especially the youth, to embrace peace in order to make sure that villagers that normally goes to the farm are now going on with their normal activities.
Some traditional leaders in the state say the violence is avoidable if the parties can embrace conflict resolution processes set in place by the traditional rulers.
I condemn in totality and advise they should have a way, a channel, particularly in the traditional institution. Table it to your tax collector, table it to your kindred head, to your district head, to your muete and then to this first class. And if they can't resolve it, let them take it to the paramount ruler, the team, who is the entire paramount ruler and chairman of chiefs of council of chiefs within the state. And I think at that point, very obvious, and I'm sure that we have a better resolution so that peace reign within the Tiv kingdom. And definitely we are going to have a resolution that peace will reign within these places that we have crisis.
The Sankara area of the state is known for militia activities for a while. The attackers used motorbikes, which were banned by the Otom administration to launch the attacks. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Governor of Taraba State, Abu Kefas, has relaxed the 24-hour curfew in Karim town and its surroundings. This follows a positive engagement with key players of the feuding communities in the Karim Lamido local government area. A statement issued by his chief press secretary, Yusuf Sanda, on Saturday said the curfew now takes effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily as a result of the downswing of tension in the area. The statement added that the curfew was eased by 12 hours due to the positive outcome of further constructive exclusive engagement notice by the governor between the Wurkun and Karinjo community leaders. The governor had convened an emergency meeting with security agencies and critical stakeholders to resolve the crisis in the Karim-Lami, the local government area. With significant decisions being made, the leaders subsequently traveled to their communities to inform their people of the resolution of the discussion. Victims of last week's flood in the Asian city of Katsina will from next week receive relief items after Wednesday's flood that destroyed property worth fortunes. The Executive Secretary, State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, Bint Dangani, disclosed this in an exclusive interview with Trust TV News in her office. Abdullahi Ahmadi reports that the victims are happy with the response and show of concern by Duke Korada-led administration since the unfortunate event happened. His report.
The flood victims are to receive mattresses, blankets, wrappers, rubber mats, buckets, and food items as an immediate support from the state government. The government is compiling the list of the affected people, assessing level of damage and loss by each victim with a view to mitigating the effects of the disaster.
So far, we have identified about 350 houses damaged, and then we have about 50 that windstorm has damaged their houses. But this 350, all their belongings has been damaged.
The SEMA Executive Secretary also mentioned some immediate measures being considered by the government to prevent the outbreak of diseases within the flood-affected communities.
We are plugging off the program, which will be led by the Deputy Governor of Katsina State, Malam Farouk Jobe, on behalf of the State Governor. They should take this as is a test from Almighty Allah, not the fault of the government or any other agency. And then we should be very careful taking care of our environment, especially those people who are living near the riverside, water flowing side. They should vacate immediately.
In a similar vein, Katsina Local Government Council is sensitizing residents against building houses on waterways and dumping refuse inside drainages to prevent reoccurrence of flood.
Year in, year out, we used to experience this type of flood around Adeleke Bridge. And this is not unconnected to what I have told you. So if we can desist and be law-abiding citizens, not to build houses on the water passage and not to dump refuse in the water passage, then we are not going to. We have done our own assuming this thing will not happen.
Not only legislation, but the implementation. Because a lot of legislations were there, but the enforcement is zero. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Katsina State, Malam Dikko Umar Radda, has promised to resubmit these laws to the Honorable House for deliberation and discussion so that we will upgrade it.
The state government deployed all strategies, including correcting some anomalies at the Just Commission's Interchange Road project at Kofar Kaura, leading to the city center. The State Environmental Protection Agency, SEPA, has also launched a special evacuation of drainages and waterways in the Asian city. Residents believed that to guarantee safe and habitable environment, a pragmatic approach and participation of all are required. Abdullahi Izumay Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
3 Almajiri school pupils in Saban, Pegi, Zangaya in Shagar ward of Yola South local government area of Adamawa State have been burned to death by a mosquito repellent late Friday evening. Owner of the Zangaya school, Abubakar Usman, confirmed that the 3 died due to a fire ignited by a mosquito coil used against mosquitoes. He explained that the deceased, 12-year-old Ismaila Muhammadu and 13-year-old Yusuf Abubakar, died instantly, while 17-year-old 17-year-old Mustafa Amadou died on Saturday morning at the Modbo Adama Teaching Hospital, Yola. Malam Abubakar solicited support from the government and stakeholders in building shelters, classrooms and toilets for the Almajiris to prevent further recurrence of the incident. A father of one of the deceased, Bello Sabangari, described the incident as the will of Allah. Also speaking, Garba Ayuba Farang, who has lost a child, expressed sadness but was quick to admit that he has never sent anything for his late child due to the hardship of life. The deceased have all been buried according to the Islamic rites. At least 14 persons, including a 4-month-old baby, died on Sunday morning in an auto accident along Lagos-Badagry Expressway in Lagos. Federal Road Safety Corps Unit Commander Williams Manga disclosed this to the News Agency of Nigeria on Sunday. Manga said that 9 other persons sustained injuries in the accident, which occurred at Agemo axis of the road. He said a commercial bus carrying 19 passengers coming from Lagos was involved in a collision with a granite truck coming from Badagry. Manga said that out of the 14 casualties, 8 of them are male passengers, 5 female, and 1 4-month-old female child. He said the accident was caused by speeding by the 2 vehicles while it was raining heavily. The commander said that the driver of the truck was not affected. Manga urged motorists not to exceed speed limits and to always have routine vehicle checks for prompt detection and replacement of faults. Dr. Olatunde Bakare, the medical director at General Hospital Badagry, said 10 of the victims were brought in dead. He said that while his staff were attending to the injured ones, 4 more succumbed to death, which raised the number to 14. Bakare said that they were doing their best to save the lives of 9 surviving passengers. He urged motorists to drive safely on the highways, especially during this rainy season. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has emerged as the new chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. He emerged chairman at the 63rd Ordinary Session of the Authority of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government in Bissau, capital of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau. Speaking after the handover from the immediate past chairman of the regional body, President Tinubu said they will take democracy seriously. Democracy is very tough, but it is the best form of government. Earlier member countries under ECOWAS have expressed gratitude and congratulations on the successful conduct of Nigeria's election that led to the emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria. The immediate past chairman of the regional body and president of Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, in his remark commended Nigeria for the sustenance of peace and strengthening of democracy in the West Africa region. President of the ECOWAS Commission, Omar Aliyu Toure, on behalf of the community and institutions, congratulated President Tinubu on his election and assumption of office as the president of Nigeria, which is the biggest economy and country in Africa. West African leaders have welcomed President Tinubu to the Authority of Heads of State and Government, the highest decision-making organ of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The leaders met in Guinea-Bissau on Sunday at the 63rd Ordinary Session of the Authority, which was held opposite the country's presidential villa. For discussion, presence of regional issues, which include security, the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and the ECOWAS Single Currency Program. Kehinde Amadou reports.
It's President Tinubu's first ECOWAS meeting, yet there are already speculations that the Nigerian leader may at the end of the summit take over from the outgoing chair of the West African Regional Organization, President Umaru Sissoco Embalo of Guinea-Bissau.
Nigeria is the big brother of all the ECOWAS countries in West Africa. 1, 2. Even in terms of economic dependence or interdependence, Nigeria, you can say with all sense of responsibility, is the economic giant of this sub-region. And so all countries along the west coast of Africa look up to Nigeria for leadership and for bringing or shoring up or enhancing the dignity of the black man.
But that is not on the written agenda. On the itinerary of subjects to be thrashed out are security challenges faced by member countries, captured in the report of the 50th Ordinary Session of the Mediation and Security Council. On economic matters, the summit will discuss the financial situation of the body, the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the ECOWAS Single Currency Program, and the report on obstacles to free movement of goods on the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. Politically, the heads of state and government will consider the report on the status of transition in the republics of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. But the first order of the day is to welcome the new Nigerian president to the fold.
I would like, therefore, to welcome President Tinubu to his first meeting of the ECOWAS Authority. On behalf of the community institutions, I would like to extend our felicitation and best wishes in piloting the affairs of Africa's biggest economy and the largest country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Our brothers, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu of Nigeria and Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone on the election and their election, respectively, to the supreme magistracy of their country, and to wish them great success and considering the fact of these two great brothers people.
The president in Guinea-Bissau will also hold bilateral meetings and other engagements on the sidelines of the summit. President Tinubu is expected back in the country on Monday. Tracking the president at the ECOWAS summit in Guinea-Bissau, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the disclosure of the spending details of about $5 billion Abacha loot recovered by the governments of former presidents Olusegun Obasanjo, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, and Muhammadu Buhari. The court ordered the government of President Bola Tinubu to disclose the exact amount of money stolen by General Sani Abacha from Nigeria and the total amount of Abacha loot recovered, and all agreements signed on same by governments of former Presidents Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, and Buhari. The judgment was delivered last week by Justice James Olowale Omotosho following a Freedom of Information suit brought by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. In his judgment, Justice Omotosho held that the application by SERAP is meritorious, and the federal government through the Ministry of Finance is hereby ordered to furnish SERAP with the full spending details of about $5 billion Abacha loot within 7 days of the judgment. In the meantime, the ruling All Progressives Congress in Kaduna State has condemned what is called attempt by the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) to mislead the governorship elections tribunal in the party's desperate bid to rescue its fatally flawed case. APC, in a statement by the state secretary of the party, Yahya Baba Pate, said PDP has resorted to mutilating ballot papers and blaming it on the APC. According to him, contrary to the PDP's false claims, the APC has always been committed to upholding the highest standards of integrity and adherence to the rule of law. He said the APC categorically deny any involvement or intention to thumbprint ballot papers ahead of their admission as evidence in court. This followed circulation of a video in which PDP members claimed ballot papers subpoenaed by the tribunal were thumbprinted at the INEC office. When contacted via telephone by Trust-based reporter in Kaduna, Bello Musa, top PDP members in the state promised to call back for more clarification, but are yet to do so. Also, the head of publicity and voter education of INEC, Kaduna, Rukaya Sani, when contacted on phone, said the complaint by the PDP is a mere allegations. She said the commission has no reason to thumbprint ballot papers after the elections. Hoodlums suspected to be party thugs have invaded the Social Democratic Party SDP campaign office in Lokoja, the capital of Kogi State, destroying and burning valuable materials. The incident happened on Sunday at the state party secretariat, located adjacent to Paparanda Square along the IBB Way in Lokoja. An eyewitness said some thugs were seen pulling down posters, pictures, and billboards in the party's secretariat in the morning. In a swift reaction, the SDP Deputy governorship candidate Sam Renti Albenemi described the attack as unfortunate and unwarranted, stressing that the action remains one of the undemocratic and barbaric acts recently. However, the Kogi State Police Command's Public Relations Officer PPRO SP William Aya did not respond to text message and call to that effect. You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Coming off after the break, we take a look at how substance abuse contributes to petty crime. Details of these and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Keep a date with Housing Development Program, 6 p.m. every Sunday on Trust TV. Housing Development is the first and pioneer housing program in Nigeria and by extension, Africa. It remains the authentic voice of the Nigerian housing and construction industry. Housing Development is the only credible and specialized platform for seasoned professionals in the built industry, where quality and credible players in the real estate sector meet to interact, showcase, and analyze government policies. It is no doubt that hundreds of thousands of prospective Nigerians who desire to own their personal property have done so through the assistance of Housing Development Program in the last 10 years. If you are a stakeholder in the built industry, here is where you must be. We are authentic, credible, and supported by all the leading professionals in the built industry. Housing Development on Trust TV.
Welcome to Trust TV, where we document the Nigerian story. Our programming showcases the rich culture and diversity of Nigeria. We strive to amplify the voices that make our nation unique. Our programming is designed to take you on a journey through the different tastes of entertainment in our country. We showcase the best of Nigerian culture, from traditional craft to cutting-edge technology. Our team of expert journalists are dedicated to unveiling the intricacies of our culture and telling the untold stories that binds us all. And let's not forget the food. Nigeria has diverse and flavorful cuisines, some of the favorites to millions across the world. What is Nigeria without its people, their passions, and their talent? Trust TV is not just a channel, it's a platform that brings you closer to everything that makes Nigeria great. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
That's great.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the news hour on Trust TV. Here is some of the recaps of some of our top stories. Plateau imposes 24-hour curfew in Mongu local government area as Magbani recovers 15 bodies after invasion on community. Soko for victims of last week's flooding in Katsina as government is set to donate relief items. Moving on to other stories. The Police Service Commission PSC has approved the dismissal of 7 police officers over misconduct and abuse of office. PSC spokesperson Ikechukwu Ani disclosed this in a statement on Sunday, saying the decision was taken at the 21st plenary of the commission, which was presided over by Justice Clara Okunbe on behalf of the PSC chairman Solomon Arazi. And he said besides the dismissal of the corps, 9 other officers were reduced a rank, including a commissioner of police. The commission had earlier approved the appeal for adjustments on the date of promotion to the rank of assistant commissioner of police for ACF Wuke Ehinie Kingsley, a reinstatement of CSP Anele Samuel Onuha in compliance with a court judgment. The PSC also approved the compulsory retirement of an assistant commissioner and directed a refund of all entitlements wrongly paid to him. It approved the posthumous promotion of late Inspector Efinye Oruke to the next rank of ASP II for acts of gallantry and reinstated 1 dismissed Inspector Augustina Oku to take effect from the date she was dismissed. The commission is expected to reconvene on Tuesday, July 11th for its 21st plenary meeting. Nigerians have expressed optimism that the new administration will turn things around to end the suffering people are going through in the country. Kabir Lawal speaks to a cross-section of Nigerians on their assessment on the journey so far since President Tinubu took over running the affairs of the country in May. The report.
Since President Bola Tinubu assumed office on the 29th of May 2023, many things have changed. For instance, a litre of fuel is now sold above 500 naira, a situation that made life difficult for citizens. The president had promised Nigerians that his administration will turn around the fortune of the country and make life more meaningful for the people. Some Nigerians want the president to match his words with actions.
Well, there are so many things happening at the same time. There is a removal of the fuel subsidy. There is anticipated increase in the multi-year tariff system, and in fact there is also, I understand that there is going to be a VAT on diesel. So the immediate impact is to hike the inflation rate and reduce the purchasing power of individuals. But
even the United Nations, the first point of contact, and when you talk about development, it's cut across infrastructural development, employment opportunity, education, and healthcare facilities.
Others say the new administration should come up with policies that center on the welfare of the citizens and overall well-being of the people.
In terms of public intervention, I think the immediate thing that the government needs to do is to try and put money in the pockets of particularly the vulnerable, because there is going to be differential impact of these measures on people depending on their income levels.
Everybody should work towards adding value to the government. Everybody should strive to see that we support the government of the day so that development would achieve its peaks in this country.
The president has set the ball rolling with few appointments and policy pronouncements since his assumption of office. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In this 21st century Nigeria, there is literally nothing that one cannot hire to achieve a predetermined objective. From professional mourners to protesters for hire, the end justifies the means. In this report, Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman looks at this social phenomenon where youths are hired by politicians to amplify a political, economic or social agenda. His report.
To canvass a push for the realization of certain objective, political or otherwise, vested interests find these categories of youth handy. The prospect for reward after protest is attractive. With as low as 500,000 naira, these youths can be mobilized to streets to either protest or amplify certain objective, even if it means nothing to them.
Those guys, they don't believe in anything, and therefore they can protest on behalf of anybody just for the fee. which is usually negotiated and paid either upfront or through mobilization. So it's a phenomenon. To some people, it is business.
They will come, they will ask someone to go and mobilize the youth. They will mobilize the youth. The youth will go without knowing what they are doing. Sometimes they are illiterate, but some of them are even literate. They will always write something on the placard and start shouting, yelling, this, that, of which they don't even know what they are doing.
Often, they organize media conferences with the sole objective of pushing the narratives of their sponsors with a view to convincing gullible audience into believing their predetermined propaganda.
Usually these politicians or NGOs prepare the text for those protesters to read. And since I tell you that some of them are semi-literate or even fairly literate, and it all depends on what is the contract. The contract given to them may be simply carrying placards.
Whenever someone is being charged of corruption, maybe the person has done a diabolical machination against the state, and he went and hired a crowd, a youth, to be standing for him, saying this, saying that. Sometimes they were saying it's ours, which is attached to African politics.
These protesters for hire are often mobilized by people in authority to woo the citizens to accept certain policies or to counter antagonists pushing for their own agenda.
Almost on daily or at least weekly basis, you see these chaps being mobilized and organized by all sort of individuals and groups to carry out protests.
And if you want to pay, you can not only pay for the protesters, you have to pay for the security, you have to pay. In short, sometimes even passersby are being paid. Nobody should interfere. Whatever you see, just turn your face.
Public affairs commentators believe addressing youth unemployment, arresting and prosecuting sponsors of violent political demonstrations, in addition to demanding leadership accountability, could reduce the impact of manipulation of protests. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A criminology lecturer at the Gombe State University, Dr. Adamu Ahmed, said drug abuse is contributing to the rise of crimes rate in Nigeria. The university lecturer said that illicit substance influence decisions of criminals, especially bandits, to perpetrate their inhuman acts. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
According to a 2018 data released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), Nigeria recorded a total of 134,663 offenses in 2017. Dr. Adamu Ahmad said drug abuse is one of the factors for the rise in petty crime and other criminal tendencies rate in the country. This is even as the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) said more than 14 million Nigerians are taking illicit substances.
The implication is that if you look at the areas where these people are engaging in, for instance, banditry, kidnapping, and the rest, particularly, for instance, northwestern part of the country, where they are experiencing high level of this security challenge, for instance, you realize that most of those who are engaging in this kind of activities are into drugs. But the consequence is that most of the rural areas in that area, you realize that youths that are engaging in this kind of banditry activities, for instance, they are doing well as against others. So it means those who don't have access will see their contemporaries flourishing, doing something and getting money, and nothing is happening to them, and you also wanted to live a life that way.
Advising governments on the way forward to reduce crime rate in the country, the university then called on security operatives to strengthen the war against drug abuse by securing the borders.
We have to reformulate our policies, rejig our laws, and also try as much as possible to put into consideration, for instance, causes of the criminality. When we look at the causes to see what are the predisposing factors that make people to even engage in the criminality, looking at the availability of things that make it possible for them to do whatever they are going to do, that's one. Secondly, trying to look at the implications of their own actions. What is the consequence of what they are doing?
Although there are no statistics that give precise figures on the influence of drug abuse and rate of crime, criminals and terrorists are mostly fond of using illicit substances. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Commercial sex workers in Bauchi State have said the promise made by the state government earlier last year to rehabilitate 575 of them through skills empowerment has not been fulfilled. Adamu Imam reports that the state government had launched empowerment program to address this social problem.
Tudun Wadan Iya within the metropolis is where the commercial sex workers usually operate. The area has been raided severally, but no one availed, and hence the promise to rehabilitate them to engage in more meaningful businesses. After 1.5 year promise to rebirth them from the ugly trade to prosperity, members of the commercial sex workers in the state are lamenting neglect by the authorities.
Skills acquisition, training and empowerment is a good thing for us, especially we the uneducated ones. They can engage us. Moving from one place to another is not our wish. Some of us used to go away and leave kids we delivered here. There is so much confusion here in this business. We need their help. They gathered us, took our names to be trained, but after that, we're yet to see anything after their promises. And we also have children. No schools. They express concern about their education. These are our great hope, but things are not easy, even here.
Ali Usman, a repentant male prostitute whose marriage was sponsored by the state government, speaks on his experience after rehabilitation. Honestly, all the promise made is not forthcoming. Nobody gave me a dime. After we got married, my wife and I are still together. I am taking good care of her. But nothing comes from the authority, and we are repentant now from the old business. I have a small shop selling provision here. Chairman Drama Group Association Tudun Wadan Iya, who are members of the skills empowerment process, speaks on the social ills of the illicit trade. We don't have the means 100% to help them all, but if the government can intervene, things will be better. Many vices will disappear. We marry them off. We counsel them because they told us stories. They don't have parents. Some are doing it only as means of survival. So government should stick to their promises to salvage them. It's important for government to assist us here. I usually take care of so many children. About 15 of them are under my care. I clothe them, feed them. I even married off some sex workers here who are willing to change. The state government, through the Sharia Commission, launched an empowerment program for commercial sex workers in February last year as a way of reducing social vices within the state capital. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Sokoto State government has set up a commission of inquiry to prove all land allocations and government assets sold or auctioned during the tenure of former Governor Aminu Tambuwal. A statement signed by the press secretary to Governor Ahmed Aliyu noted that the committee will also ascertain the government bank account and amount realized from the sales and auctions of the assets. The statement added that the committee will examine the various allocations of lands throughout the state, including government-owned houses sold or auctioned. The committee was given 2 months from the date of its first sitting to submit its report. The 5-man committee was led by Justice M.A. Pindiga, retired, while Nasr Muhammad Binji will serve as its secretary. Other members of the committee include Chief Jacob E. Ochide San, Alhaji Usman Abubakar, and Barrister Lema Sambawali. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN Ijibo Satellite Depot, has raised alarm over incessant activities of pipelines vendors at Idimu Alimosho Local Council Development Area of Lagos. Chairman IPMAN Ijibo Satellite Depot, Akin Ronaldi, said that some vandals who were found scooping petrol on System 2B pipeline in front of Goodluck Estate Idimu absconded while the security agents tried to apprehend them. Akin Ronaldi said that continuous vandalism is a setback to the effort of IPMAN and NNPCL to ensure uninterrupted supply of petrol to Lagos and the entire southwest region of Nigeria. He said that a 33,000-litre truck with registration number JND162XA belonging to a marketer loading at Ibadan Depot was apprehended at the scene of petrol scooping in Idimu. Similarly, the police command in Lagos State says its operatives have foiled an attempt by hoodlums to steal oil at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC pipeline. The command spokesperson SP Benjamin Hondain made this known on his verified Twitter handle on weekend. Hondain further explained that the hoodlums unlawfully gained access into the site and were siphoning oil from the pipeline into their tanker. This is Trust News Hour. We will be back after this short break. To stay with us. Welcome back. And now away from Nigeria, Gabon's President Ali Bongo Ondimba said on Sunday that he will seek a third term as the oil-rich African nation's head of state. Bongo's sister took over from his father, Umar Bongo Ondimba, the country's ruler for 41 years in 2009. The president was narrowly re-elected in 2016 with just 5,500 more votes than the rival Jinping, who claimed the election had been fixed. Bongo suffered a stroke in 2018 and spent months on the sidelines recovering, leaving the opposition to question his fitness to run the nation. The Bongo family has ruled the country for 55 years already and is branded a dynastic power by the opposition. But the opposition has failed to agree on a single candidate for the presidential election, leaving some 15 candidates to announce their intentions to stand. In April, the Gabonese parliament voted voted to amend the constitution and reduce the president's term from 7 to 5 years. Sections of the opposition criticized the changes, in particular the end of 2 rounds of voting as a means of facilitating the re-election of Bongo. Still on the international news, an airstrike in a Sudanese city has killed at least 22 people. Health authorities said it is one of the deadliest air attacks yet in 3 months of fighting between the country's rival generals. The assault took place in the Dar es Salaam neighborhood in Omdurman, the neighboring city of the capital, Khartoum. According to a brief statement by the health ministry, the attack wounded an unspecified number of people. The conflict pits the military against a powerful paramilitary group known as the Rapid Support Forces. The strike was one of the deadliest in the fighting in urban areas of the capital and elsewhere in Sudan last month. An airstrike killed at least 17 people, including 5 children in Khartoum. And now on sports news, movie stars Annemiek van Vleuten clinched her 4th overall title at the Giro d'Italia Donny as Chiara Consonni won the final stage. The Dutch rider led the race throughout and went into the 9th stage with an advantage of nearly 4 minutes. The 40-year-old secured the title as compatriot Marijn Vos was held off by youth favorite Consonni, 23rd in a sprint finish in Olbia. Van Vleuten maintained her overall lead over French woman Juliette Labous, 24. Italy's Gaia Relani, 22, was third over, while New Zealand's Ali Wollaston, also 22, was third on the stage for her best result yet in a World Tour race. Van Vleuten won the inaugural Tour de France Femmes last year, with this year's edition of the 8-stage race starting on July. Russia's Andrew Rublev reached his first Wimbledon quarter-final with a 5-set victory over Alexander Bublik, making a wonder shot in the final game. Rublev took a thrilling 7-5, 6-3, 6-7, 6-8, 6-7, 5-7, 6-4 win on center court. Bublik won the 4th and 8th games of the second set with underarm serves and fought back superbly to take it to 5 sets before Rublev triumphed in the penultimate point of the match. The 7th seed dived to his right and found a winner that stunned the crowd. Hosts who were inside a packed center court crowd treated to one of the matches of the tournament were on their feet with a standing round of applause after the point. Bublik looked stunned at the diving effort before applauding from the other end of the court. However, Rublev later said it was short he will not be able to repeat. Max Verstappen cruised to victory in the British Grand Prix for his 6th win in a row and a record equaling 11th consecutive triumph for Red Bull. McLaren's Lando Norris fought off an attack from Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes after a late safety car to finish second to give the 160,000 fans a double home podium to cheer. Verstappen's 8th win in 10 races this year brought Red Bull level with the record McLaren established in their historic 1988 season with Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. His victory, which puts his championship lead over teammate Sergio Perez at 99 points, extends a run of Red Bull wins that date back to last season's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on Verstappen's currently apparently unbeatable form. Red Bull will break McLaren's record at the next race in Hungary in 2 weeks' time and are likely to move far beyond it as the season progresses. Verstappen reduced this Grand Prix, like so many this year, to a demonstration run once into the lead. But behind him, the race, static for a long period, came alive after the safety car called when Kevin Magnussen's Haas caught fire down the Wellington Straight. Before we go, here is a kicker. We look at how an aeroplane conversation changed Brighton Zambizi's life. The former technician is now one of Zambia's pioneering black soldier fly, BSF, maggot farmers, rearing the flies to produce affordable chicken feed for farmers. Take a look.
BSF farming, it is the farming of flies, the black soldier fly. I started BSF farming in 2018 by researching. It took me the whole year researching BSF farming. Then in 2019, I started BSF farming. Usually they love to hide their eggs. This is a very, very sensitive insect. It's a very, very sensitive insect. So they lay eggs in the cardboard boxes. So from this side, we come to the growing area. When we leave our tray with eggs, we leave it for 4 to 5 days to hatch. After hatching, we will come to see things like this. This is what we call BSF maggots. Besides teaching people about BSF farming, I also sell chicks. I also send seed to Botswana, as far as Botswana, Mozambique, and South Africa. From 7 days going up, it will be ready to feed our animals, either our chickens or our pigs or anything that we need to feed. All right. This is a free feed. Come and join and make your own feed at no cost, only labor you need on BSF farming. And this is protein, 4% and above of protein content. Insect is a future for our food security. I think we all know through our climate changes and what's happening to the world. I think insects and animals are the future.
With that, we have come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and our YouTube live stream. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.